Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a buyer Q&A. I put on my Instagram to ask me questions if you had anything pertaining to buying a home, and you guys delivered, so thank you. And while you're here and while I have your attention, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let me just get into this video. Okay, so the first question I have is, should I talk with a bank before looking at a home, or how do I go about getting a loan? So yes, you do want to meet with a lender. You can work with your local bank, or you can explore banks and see who has the best interest rate. They're all going to be pretty much in line with each other as far as interest rates go. However, some banks do have different fees, so it's just worth exploring and finding a lender who's going to be a good match for you, because you'll be working closely with them throughout the process. So step one of buying a home is definitely getting in touch with a lender. If you don't know of anyone or you want recommendations, you can always reach out to me and I can help you get an appointment with one. They'll send you an email to provide them a bunch of documents that they need, fill out their application, and then within 24 to 48 hours of you submitting that documentation to them, they'll have you a pre-approval amount, and then we can go look at homes. The next question is, should I buy or continue to rent? And this is just my advice, but I believe that if you're planning on being in the city or town for 3 years or longer, you should buy. And that goes with the fact that you can afford to buy a home. But if you can afford to buy and you can afford to rent, my suggestion is to buy. That way you're paying into your own equity, and then down the line when you choose to sell, you'll be able to make money off of that house. I got a question that said, how do I find rent-to-own properties? Those are something that are a little bit more sticky situations, and I try to keep myself out of them just because so many things can go wrong in the time that you're renting it to the time that you agreed to buy it, and that's just going to cause you a lot of pain if it doesn't go through and then you've lost money. So my suggestion is to not try to have a purchase contract in place, whether you're doing it with a normal loan or a contract for deed, which I talked about in another video of mine. My personal advice is just to avoid rent-to-own homes, and they're pretty hard to come across, I would think. Okay, another question is, I own a home. Should I buy another before selling my current home? So if you're looking to upsize or downsize or move to a different city, whatever the reason might be, you can list your home and buy a home at the same time. And then you just put your contracts as far as dates go, line them up pretty similarly, so you close on the home you currently own, and then you can use the proceeds from that sale to buy your new home. You can increase your down payment so that you have lower monthly rates, or you can keep some of the cash in your bank account if that's what you choose to do. But yeah, you can absolutely do both, and I'm working on 2 deals that my clients are selling a house and under contract to buy a new house, and then they'll just close a few days apart. This question says, do I really need a realtor when buying a home? And of course I'm going to be biased in saying yes, but the reason being is just because we're here to protect you, and we are equipped with legal contracts. We know the process, we know every box that needs to be checked throughout the timeline, and so it's just safer to use a realtor. You don't want to go into a home and have no inspections done, and then a month after you buy it, the roof caves in. So those are things that as a realtor, we're going to be looking out for your best interest and making sure that the home is safe and sound for you to move your family into. This one says, who pays the realtor fees when buying a home? When you are going to buy a house, you don't owe me anything. As of right now, the seller pays the commission. There is talks that that might change within the upcoming years, but for now, I am free for you to use. You do have, and this is actually another question, what are like the fees of buying a home? You do have to pay fees for your mortgage lender, and sometimes the seller will agree to pay those for you, but as far as commissions, $0. Okay, this one says, what is a foreclosure, or how do I buy a foreclosed home? And if you're on Zillow searching, you'll always see homes that say pre-foreclosure, and then they might be listed at a very, very inexpensive amount. Foreclosures are tricky. So I actually bought the house I live in. It was on the pre-foreclosure list, and its auction date was like 4 months away. I had reached out to the seller, and we did an off-market purchase and stopped it from going to foreclosure, saved her a huge hit to her credit. But as far as those houses on Zillow, you would want to reach out to a realtor, see if they can get in touch with the owners and see if the owners are even interested in selling their home and stopping the foreclosure. If they say no, then the house goes to auction, and 9 times out of 10 you have to have an all-cash purchase at the auction in order to buy it. Not all homes sell at an auction, then they'll come back on the market and you can buy it with a standard loan. But foreclosures are kind of a whole nother discussion that I'd love to sit down and chat with, because there's just so much that goes into them. But I guess I kind of skipped part of that question. A foreclosure is a house that the homeowner has not been making their monthly payments for probably at least a year. It takes banks quite a while to foreclose on a property, so they're behind on their payments, the interest goes way up, and they're being auctioned off for how much is owned on their loan and the interest that they failed to pay on. Okay, this one says, how many homes should I look at before putting in an offer? So that is really up to you. If you sit down with a realtor and discuss your wants and needs, your realtor should be able to kind of help you navigate what each house has to offer and what boxes still need crossed off to make sure it is or isn't a good decision for you. In the market that we're in right now, if you like the house and you don't want to lose it, you better put an offer in, because it will sell in the next day. If you walk into the first house and it feels like the perfect fit for your family, cancel the rest of your showings and make an offer on it. Okay, so this one's like, how long or what is the timeline process of buying a home? So how long does it take for things to fully happen? So it can take you a day or a year or longer to find the house that you're interested in. So that part I'm not going to include. For now, I'm going to start with the day that you find the house that you want to put an offer in on. How long does the process go from there? So you sit down and you write an offer with your realtor. Your realtor will submit it to the seller's agent. Typically, you have 24 hours as a seller to respond to that offer, whether you accept it, reject it, or send it in a counter offer. So within 24 hours to 48 hours, you should be under contract, or if it's rejected, looking at the new houses. But you could know if you got that house in as little as 1 hour. If you send over an amazing offer and the sellers are ready, they could get back to you right away and say it's all yours. So once the seller says yes, they've accepted your offer and negotiations are done, you are what's called under contract, or in escrow, I say under contract. So once you're under contract, within the first 2 to maybe 3 weeks, you will have home inspections done, whatever ones you choose to do. My buyers typically do a standard home inspection that evaluates the ins and outs of the house, pretty much inch by inch. You'll get an overview of the electrical, the plumbing, the roof, the furnace, the water heater, and the doors, if the door's open and the window's open, things like that. My clients also usually get a sewer scope and then a radon test as well, and I won't go really far into that at all. Let's say that takes place at week 2 of being under contract. Then within that 3rd week, you negotiate out with the sellers what health and safety concerns came up on the inspection and what you want them to fix before you agree to move forward. That can take up to 5 to 7 days to fully negotiate that out. I really try to solidify it within 2 to 3 days with my clients, but sometimes if we have to get quotes, it does take longer. So then once the inspection part is all wrapped up, we move closer to the appraisal. We order it with the bank. The appraiser will come to the house. You won't attend that. You can attend the home inspections, and most buyers do. But the appraiser is just a third party that comes in, evaluates the home to make sure its condition is safe for your loan type and that the value supports the purchase price that you've agreed on. The appraiser has, I believe, 14 days to return appraisals on each property now. It used to be 28 days for VA loans, but thank the Lord that that is now 14 days. Like I said, you kind of have between 14 and 21 days to get the inspections all taken care of, and then the appraiser is there around week 4, week 5, and then that 6th week is for wrapping things up. The bank finally processes and double checks all of your finances. So here in Montana, we are closing homes with a loan between 30 and 45 days. 30 days is if you haven't just, I don't even know, a miraculous experience and maybe you don't do inspections and you just jump to appraisal. But typically we're around 45 days. Sometimes we are even 55 days if things get held up as far as appraisal goes or inspections. But some people think that 6 weeks is a super fast time to spot the house, put in an offer, and then be moving in. Some people think it's super long. I'm kind of in the middle because sometimes I get super easy transactions and 6 weeks seems like forever. Sometimes they're really tricky situations and 6 weeks seems like not enough time and we're just cramming to the last second. And then as far as getting your keys on that final day, when you go to sign, the sellers will sign at one certain time slot and then the buyer will go time at another certain time slot. You will get the keys that day and then you just have to wait depending on your contract, you could go and get into the house the second that the title company has all of the paperwork signed from you. Other times you do have to wait another 3 hours until it records publicly for you to be able to access that house. But then it's yours. Okay, this one says, do I have the option to have any home inspections? And yes, I discussed that. You can get any inspection that you want. Like I said, my clients mostly get home inspection, sewer scope, and a radon test, but the list is endless. And then if there's something that comes up on those inspections that you're not happy with or comfortable with and the seller is not willing to take care of them for you, you do have the option to terminate your contract with truly no penalty other than paying for the inspections. The next one is, what kind of credit score do I need to buy a house? And most loans are around a minimum of a 620 credit score. I do want to say that there are some programs that allow an even lower credit score, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Obviously, the higher the credit score, the lower interest rate you're going to get. The lower the credit score, you may need to look into some program options as far as down payment assistance or grant options, things like that. And those are all questions to ask your lender. They deal more with your finances. I do not ask for any financial information other than your pre-approval amount with the bank. So this one says, how much do I need for a down payment? Is it really 20%? A lot of people hear 20%, and that's because that's truly how it was. That was the traditional way quite a few years ago. But within the last few years, banks have been able to get away with doing 20%. And the 20% is really just to avoid paying your mortgage insurance, which is an extra added expense to your monthly payments. If you can have 20% down, then you don't have to pay that mortgage insurance. We have loan programs right now that range as little as 3% down, if you're military, it's 0% down, so that's amazing. But I would shoot to have 3.5% down for a down payment. The more you can do, obviously the better, the lower your monthly payments will be. But I'm just gonna leave you with some good hope and say 3.5% and we'll get you rolling. Okay, another question I have is, can I buy a home if I have student loans? Yes, so how you get approved for a loan is based off of your debt to income ratio. So if your only debt is your student loans and your income is high above the payments that you make for your student loans and your current cost of living, then you should be able to get approved for a loan. It may not be for $200,000, but it might be for $130,000. It all depends on credit score, your debt, and your income, and what other assets you own. And that is another question for a lender. So if you're interested in buying a home, let me know. I'll get you in touch with a lender because they're going to be able to help you a lot more as far as knowing how much you can afford and what your monthly payments would be. Okay, I've been recording for 20 minutes now. I know that'll be cut down when I start to edit, but I hope this helps. It was just a few questions to start, but I like doing Q&As, so I think every month going forward I might redo this questionnaire that I asked on Instagram, and then next time I'll put it on Facebook as well so we can get more questions submitted. But that was a good starting point. I really appreciate you guys for submitting that. If you're still with me, thanks for watching. I hope you learned at least one thing out of watching it. Like I said at the start, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.